We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back, fired up live, Monday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, as promised. And today, we are going to be talking tech adoption and automation in the field. We have Josh Zolin, CEO of Windy City Equipment, Dustin Young with XOI Technologies. I'm bringing them right in. We're not going to delay. Boom, boom. There they are. And, Dustin, I'm going to let you lead with kind of introducing kind of who you are. Let everybody know a little bit about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that, Rich. Josh, always good to see you guys. I've been at XOI for about 3 years. I'm a sales engineer. I was a customer success manager for most of the tenure that I've been here. But before I came to XOI, I was a service tech out in the field. I worked with a couple of big contractors here in Nashville. I spent a lot of time, servicing equipment, installing equipment, making sure that it's clean, running right, dealing with both residential and commercial clients. And then I actually had the opportunity to use this software as a technician for probably the last year and a half that I was in the field. And it was the software that we provide, XOI. It really gave me as a technician the ability to document my job faster. And more cohesively than what I was doing, traditionally with taking notes and stuff like that. So,
yeah, nice. That's awesome. And we'll talk about that a little bit. How you're kind of technician, now you're on this side. It's an interesting dynamic to hear your perspective on things. And for the three people in this live here that are watching now or later, Josh, give a little insight into who you are.
Yeah, hey guys. Josh Zolin, CEO of Windy City Equipment. Headquartered out here in Phoenix, Arizona, sunny, hot, now humid for some reason. Yeah, believe it or not, Phoenix, Arizona, with branches in Tucson, Albuquerque, and Houston as well. Author of Blue is the New White, advocate for XOI Technologies, and also the Fed Group and Mr. Rich Malachy here.
Yeah.
Always glad to be here, guys.
Oh, man, appreciate you. So let's get right into it. But I think it's interesting because, a lot of technicians definitely are watching, whether it's now or the replay.
Sure.
And, Josh and I are definitely advocates for the tech. I'm sure you are, having been one. Before we get into tech adoption and automation in the field, let's talk a little bit about what these technicians are doing out there in the heat. Because there's, I think, so many misperceptions to begin with. Yeah. So as we roll into talking with some of this technology that we're excited to talk about, maybe let's pump up these techs and let's give some insight into what's really going on in that field. Like anything you could think of off the top of your head, Dustin.
Oh man, there's 1,000 scenarios that pop in my mind. I mean, you're out there in the summertime, all the wildlife is out. You're dealing with, everything from bees and wasps nesting inside the units. You find lots of critters dead and alive. They get across the contactor, across the capacitor, and, now they're crispy critters. We're doing crawl spaces. We're up on roofs. There's birds nesting in there. There's raccoons and possums and stuff. There's snakes. And that's just the animals, right? That's not to mention the heat factor. The copious quantities of water that we have to consume all day to stay hydrated, prevent heat exhaustion. And, what a lot of clients don't really understand, like we do a lot of preventative maintenance work just outside of the service aspect of our job. Even if it's, we're out there on a service call, the equipment, the coils could be impacted. You got to clean it. That's very labor intensive work that unless you've watched your HVAC service guy do the job or been one yourself, a lot of people I don't think really understand how labor intensive and physical that job is.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and that's one of the things. So talking with the tech adoption, in the industry, and how we're kind of being able to see some of the stories of the job, as I say. Because so many people call in and they go, "Hey, listen, I got something going on here with my whatever. Let's just say HVAC. I think it just needs a shot of Freon. It's 2 seconds. Can you just send the guy real quick? Is anything really 1, 2, 3 real quick? And is it ever just a shot of refrigerant? I mean,
no. Never. And I mean, also speaking from a plumbing or electrician perspective, we're still in all of these areas that most people don't go in very often. And there's, outside of the wildlife factor, there's still a lot of environmental conditions that, you have to consider. And all these jobs are very physically demanding. So, whatever it is, you're never out there for 5 minutes and you're done. any respectable technician goes through a diagnostic process to make sure that the problem you're experiencing isn't a symptom of something larger. Because the last thing we want is to get a call back or having to get a senior level guy out there that's like, oh, well, you put a Band-Aid on it, So, we always want to do the right thing by the customer the first time.
Yes, it happened to you a lot, Dustin. Got to get the senior guy out there.
I'm just kidding. As a young tech, man, it happened a lot, and it's embarrassing. We all have a pride and ego thing, going on because it's our work. That's our job. And so when somebody has to come behind you and fix something that you didn't do right or you misdiagnosed it, take a little shot to the chest on that one. So.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into the next thing the next point I wanted to make on this. And you being in the field and being in a more senior position eventually, in your career, we all have our systems and our procedures and our processes that we have to follow and abide by, and then the customer has their procedures and their processes, right? And a big thing that I hear from my techs is, they're spending almost as much time on the quote unquote paperwork, if you will, than as they are on the job, and maybe that's a bit of a, exaggeration, but you can't deny that through the years, and as some technology has been implemented and some other technology has been ignored, these procedures end up building up, and we're actually starting to ask technicians to do things that may not actually play to their strengths. Right. At the end of the day, they're there to appease the customer, fix the piece of equipment, do what they were trained to do, right, and then move on. So with your experience in the field, can you talk a little bit about some of the frustrations you've had surrounding this?
There's a bunch of that, and it really depends. And I think every contractor speaks to every contractor out there. I mean, you've got a mixed bag of guys. Some guys are really great at documenting their job, documenting their work, what they did out there. Other guys, that's not their strong suit. They want to go out there and fix it, write 2 sentences, found problem, fixed it, and then move on to the next call. Well, that's cool that they fixed it and that, the customer's happy, but on the back end of that, as another technician going back out to that site later to take care of that customer at a future date, I have no idea what problem he found, what he did to fix it. I'm in the dark, and everybody in the office is in the dark too. They don't know what he did. So if the customer calls in with a complaint or a question, what's the person answering the phone going to do? They're going to look at those same notes, and then they're going to have to call him and seek more information from him, which ties up his time, distracts him from the call that he's on now. And then, maybe they notate the account with what he actually did, or maybe they don't. Maybe they just, answer the customer's questions and move on because we're busy. So if there's, a single source of truth, there's an easier way to document the job. I know that a lot of technicians are definitely on board with that. A lot of people don't want to change or do something different, but if it's easier and it replaces a more labor-intensive process, adoption rates much higher. You're going to get guys still that are like, I'm not doing that. But that's the 2%, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, and talking about the technicians that are out there, like to both of your points, it's about the change. We're in a major shift in the industry. There's a lot of changes happening, and we talk about the pandemic, how it fast forwarded everybody into using technology a whole lot more, Zooms and Teams, and I mean, none of this stuff is going to go away. I don't think anyway. So and looking at that from the perspective from the technician, I know when we, whenever we're about to do change, like when I first went to go put GPS on the vans, 10 years ago. Oh, you don't trust me. Oh, I don't think this is not right. You can't watch me. And eventually it just became one of those things that was normalcy. And now we're kind of moving into the direction where we want to see more. The customer wants to see more. We want to see what you're doing. We want the history. We want to be able to have good conversations with our customers when they ask questions. And it all comes from like stuff with Amazon and all these, even Uber Eats. If the Uber Eats driver could take a picture and a video and all that stuff, why can't we?
Right.
So that's kind of where I think this is headed. I think all companies at some point are going to adopt the technology that we're talking about right now. But it's part of society. We want to be in the know, and that video and those pictures and of the data tag and everything, the whole thing, the whole story becomes fuel. When someone calls in and says, your guy wasn't here for this long, and he didn't do this, and he didn't do that. But wait, there's more. You know. So I don't know what do you see in Dustin? Are you, from technicians' perspective, adopting this technology? Are you on the phone with these guys, or are you getting kickback, or are you seeing people with kickback?
I mean, I offer out my phone number to every group of techs that I train. I've probably trained 1,000 technicians on this software since I've been here. I was one of the early adopters. I worked at Lee Company. They were, one of the first clients that XOI ever had, and I was one of the first guys to pick it up and really start using it on the residential side because I was already doing that. When smartphones got smart enough to take pictures and videos, it only takes you pulling the wrong condenser one time or having to drive back from the, to the site from the supply house because you wrote the model number down wrong before you, figure out a better way to document your stuff. So, statistically, with our platform, techs are using our app for about 2.5 to 3 minutes per call on average. It took me that long to document make and model and serial off of a Train rooftop unit because that model number is 30 characters long. And the likelihood of me getting that right every time.
Or you might think you wrote it down right, but then somebody else has got to read it, right?
Yeah. Then there's that, right? Then there's also the legibility aspect. So, now the tech just takes a picture of data plate with our software, and our system does everything else on the back end for them. It transcribes all that information.
Yeah.
For a lot of these these manufacturers, they don't even have to translate manufacturer year anymore. Our software is pulling that right out of the serial number now.
Yeah, and we got Vinny. Vinny even said that the data plate photos worth its weight in gold. And it is. Information is power.
Yeah.
These are things that are time savers. We're all looking for time savers, and especially today. I mean, Josh. I mean, even just to talk about like what's going on with the calls exploding on everybody's board. Let's talk about what's going on in Arizona with the heat. I'm sure you're busier than you've ever probably seen it. And how is some of this tech stuff really helping?
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable what we're seeing right now. I've had like 6 knocks on the door since we started this live, but but it really is. I mean, I was looking at the call board a couple of weeks ago. We had a record amount of calls come in 1 week. I think we were pushing 551, something like that, and that's only over 4 locations, and the bulk of that being here in Phoenix, Arizona. But it's unprecedented, right? And so. There's like a trickle down effect that happens, and executive team gets incredibly busy, the technicians get incredibly busy, the dispatchers get incredibly busy, the parts department, everybody, right? And that leads to people rushing, right? And Dustin, you're familiar with this. You remember what it's like when it was busy. Oh
yeah,
gotta go, next call. And that's a tough. It's a fine line to walk, right? Because we want to be able to service all of these customers as quickly as possible, but we cannot sacrifice ever the quality of work that we provide. Yeah. So we're constantly looking for, these solutions to bridge the gap, to make this easier. To people laugh at me, right? Because I'm like, all right. So that process takes you 37 seconds. You'd say, how can we get that down to 26 seconds? People are like, Josh, 11 seconds ain't going to do anything. I said, you add 11 seconds up thousands and thousands of times. I promise you it's going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really how we have to look at efficiencies is on a micro scale, right? Because, it's these everyday, these little nuances, these routines, these things that really tend to hold us up because, as you know, one thing leads to another. In that 11 seconds, improper procedure could cost hours on the back end. Hours. I mean, forgetting to put a screw in a panel, forgetting to mark on a work order that the unit is actually up and running, or adversely that the unit is down and needs to be addressed, right? All these little things. So the implementation of automation and technology in this industry, albeit late, is absolutely needed, and we're always looking for any avenue possible, to mitigate that, which is one of the reasons why we partner with XOI.
Yeah. What he said.
Sorry, I blacked out there for a minute.
No, I mean that's it. I mean, yeah, that's everything. and to talk like time, you talk about time, 11 seconds. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know like McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, they have drive-through times that they're always trying to improve.
Yeah.
Because those seconds do matter when you add them up, and they're trying to improve the efficiency. I got to get the next customer, turning the tables in the restaurants, all these things. That's what technology really does help us improve. So yeah. What else we got here, guys? I mean,
I'm curious if you don't mind me jumping in. Dustin, I'm curious, with your experience being one of the earliest adopters of XOI technologies, how that experience went for you.
Well, back then, I mean, when it first came out, we had the camera glasses. We had the little M100s that clipped onto the side of the safety glasses. They looked cool. With any new technology like that, you got to keep it connected through some means, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, to a tablet, so it has the ability to upload the content. It's an extra piece of hardware that you have to carry around. So, being in crawl spaces, confined spaces a lot, in and out of my truck, in and out of, different areas, that stuff gets jumbled, it gets bumped, it gets broken. I lost a pair in a condenser fan one time because it slipped right off my face with ding. But on the flip side of that, wearing safety goggles is always important. You should always have your safety glasses on. It saved my eyes a bunch. But when we migrated to the app on the phone, this is not an extra piece of hardware. I've already got this thing with me on my person all the time. How simple is it for me just to flip my little home screen shortcut button, take a picture or a quick video of something, and put it back in my pocket? I'll get back in my van, and where I was traditionally burning 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes documenting this call, because there could be, a lot of layers to this thing, right, that I want to make sure the next person's informed with. I'm in this app for, maybe a minute and a half, putting pictures and videos where they need to go. And, hot, rainy days, days where you're not wanting to play on your phone. Other times I just pull it out, take the video, right in the app, and put it back in my pocket. I don't have to worry about it. Everybody in the office was able to see what I did. And you're talking about saving seconds, Josh. They're able to quickly assess whatever happened on that site when the customer calls in. They don't have to call and bother me. I don't have to try to remember when the next technician goes out there 6 months from now and he calls me, hey, what'd you do out here? I don't have to try to remember what I did 400 calls ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's amazing. And I'm also curious, because this is kind of unique, Rich, because he's lived it, right? Yeah. He's lived the service side of it. He's lived the XOI implementation and stuff like that. So across your team, when this was rolled out, how quickly did you see, your team adopt this technology?
It was probably 50-50. With the small group, we had like a little pilot group that started it. And then they started, once management in the office started really seeing the content come in and the value that was inherent with that, they made a larger rollout to the bigger team. And, you had about 50% of the guys. It was, to Rich's point, this is big brother. Why do you need to know what I'm doing all the time? And it's like, no, dude, you're missing it. Like, just take pictures of basic stuff. Here's the data plate. Here's the problem. This is what's wrong. This is what I'm going to diagnose. Okay, this is what I'm going to recommend to the customer. Now I've got some pictures and videos to connect the dots in their mind that, okay, before you were just telling me a bunch of words that I had no idea what they meant. But now I can see what's broken. It makes sense. And yes, I want you to clean or fix that. And then, you take a recap video showing the equipment's running when you're done. So that way, A, you're not getting callbacks. Nobody's throwing you under the bus later. And B, if the equipment's not running, now you can say why. Hey, this equipment's still down. It's got a bad compressor. We've got to come back out and replace this. Now everybody's in the loop. And if I'm not the guy that ends up going out there to do that change out, the next guy can see exactly which unit it is, where it's located. He is fully informed when he gets out to that site. He didn't have to spend 5-10 minutes wandering around, putting a game plan together. He can see that completed job from the last time I was out there, and he's like, go to work.
Yeah. So is it one of those situations that when everybody finally was on the platform, it was easy for them to see the value of it?
Oh, yeah, man. And that's, it's just getting everybody on that page, right? It's once everybody's on the same page, like, oh, this is going to save me time. Oh, I don't have to reach out with 10 phone calls to figure out what happened. Or I did a lot of install too. So if the sales guy would use it, when he'd go out there, that would save me 20 to 30 minutes on every install. I didn't have to do discovery. I knew where the equipment was. I knew where all the access points were. when we pulled up to the site, we jumped out and I just started delegating stuff to my guys. And we just went to work. I didn't pull the wrong condenser anymore. Talking about, hours worth of time suck out of a day. Yeah, pull the wrong condenser. Now you gotta, pull a vacuum. You gotta hook it back up, braze it back in, pull a vacuum. Recharge the system. So, yeah, there was a lot of benefit just doing it, from the install side.
Yeah, and listen, so tech adoption. We're talking about, and this is as we're talking here, I'm kind of thinking, and the tech adoption. We're talking about the technicians. But what about the backs? What about the back offices? What about we're looking at parts departments and service departments, and even for myself, when you sit in that service desk, when your technician is saying things to you on the phone, it's like, I know what you're talking about, but I wish I could see it.
Right.
A lot of these things that are occurring today with all the craziness we're all dealing with, it's like that video is worth so much more now because my parts department has access to these things. Mm-hmm. They're looking at it. They're going, oh, this is okay. They could actually drill things down. They could see the part we're talking about. And we don't have to hold these guys on the phone anymore.
Don't have to hold them
Go
up.
to the next thing. So let's talk about the backside. How are you thinking? How you see? Because Josh, I know you're running how many guys now?
55.
55. You can't have these guys on the phone more than they already are with manufacturers and everybody else. So maybe what do you see on the back end? I mean, is that it's got to be assisting you with, seeing what the parts are and how you can kind of expedite quotes and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the parts department heavily uses XOI. Actually, they'll be the first ones to reach out to the technician if even if the video was done but hasn't been uploaded yet. Hey, give me that video so I can get this quote out. I mean, it's a way of life now for the company. I've said on previous Fired Ups that once we implemented XOI, we wondered immediately how we ever lived without it. And it's one of those things that is just. And I've told Aaron this before too, right? Like I didn't know I needed XOI until I had XOI. And then I was like, oh my God, I know you've been, explaining this to me for the last year and a half, but why didn't you say so?
Right.
But it really is. And we talk about shaving those seconds, right? And Dustin's 20 to 30 minutes on installs is a hell of a lot better than my 11 seconds. That's a perfect example. Of how it can be utilized to save this time and increase this efficiency, and really expedite what we're trying to do, which is deliver quality service.
Yeah. And there's an automation piece in our software too that, when you build these workflows, and the workflows are just the steps that the guys use to take pictures and videos, they can be mandatory. So, you're getting a consistent level of content capture on every job. Right. But then there's other steps that are optional. I may not need to order parts on every job, on every, call that I go on, but on the calls that I do, I'll just take a couple pictures of the parts I need. And as soon as I complete that workflow, it's going to email that entire job to the parts guy. He now has a picture of the data plate. He can see the pictures of the parts, and he can, go ahead and go about his business without being tied up on the phone. And, we can do that with a bunch of stuff. We can automate stuff from the field to the salespeople, to the dispatchers for sales leads. You can automate a support request to somebody internally that, is typically the guy that's on the phone 24/7 helping techs work through problems. You can send him a video along with the data plate of the unit. Now he knows exactly what problem you're looking at. So when he gets involved with you on the phone or with Vision Live, like he's already got a game plan in his mind on how we're going to attack troubleshooting this problem and get it solved quickly so that he can help the next guy.
Yeah. And something, I'm getting an alert for every single video that's being done. We have 16, 17 guys. I don't even know what it is anymore, but I'm getting an alert for all these jobs too. And I'm going through these things. I love looking and seeing what's going on. So I also feel like I'm in touch, and I mentioned this. I feel like I'm more in touch with the company, with the business, because I'm doing so many other things. But I also get to find some things for Lori, who's our key account and PM manager, and I could forward stuff off to her for the account and go, look, check out this combi oven. Look at the generator. Look at this. These people need a PM. Yep. She could take that video now when she goes to the sales call, and she's done this, and she can bring it up on her phone, click the link. Check this out. You have 5 combis in a row over here. You have 3 steamers. None of this stuff is being maintained. We're gonna be back for $10,000 repairs on that one, unless you want to get a PM together and let us maintain this. So it's also super important to give the customer real insight. versus just words. Because words, I over the years, how many times, Josh, have you probably said, and Dustin, you too, you probably told the customer, listen, this steamer over here has got scale buildup. It's disgusting. It needs to be PM. Yeah, okay, no problem. Send me a quote or something.
They have no idea what you're even talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
You show them a picture of it, of this disgusting thing, and they're like, oh my. And you're like, yeah. They're like, oh no. Don't look behind the curtain, right? But yeah, once you pull that curtain back and they're able to see the condition of that equipment, the light comes on immediately. They're like, oh.
It does.
Yeah, we need to do something about that.
And that's what increases that trust and transparency that we talk about too, is being able to actually, get them to understand what it is that you're saying. And additionally, going back to the automation part of it, one thing I wanted to point out that, above and beyond just the time saving with being able to automatically send it to a service manager or the sales team or the install crew, whatever it may be, is the limitation of mistakes, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but, in the past, maybe once or twice in my life, probably a lot more, I've accidentally sent the wrong email to the wrong person, right? And, a lot of times you don't know until that person emails you back and they're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But so that's a big, I know it's little, right? But that's one of the things that I wanted to at least point out, because when you have this set up and it's like a set it and forget it type of situation, then you don't have to worry about those stupid little mistakes anymore. The mistakes that take a fraction of a second to make, but could delay your project by 2 weeks if you let it. I mean,
right.
Yeah, sure, maybe not super common, but it happens.
It happens. Yeah, it absolutely happens. And that's automation. I mean, if you're not there, and I want people in that are watching this to understand, like, we're talking about this and we're bringing this to the table because, again, we know we self-admittedly the industry is behind on a lot of things, including the technology aspect. And if we can start getting these companies understanding that, we want our industry to thrive. I mean, that's what Josh and I are out here doing. We want to see it bigger and better and stronger. So
sure.
We want to bring these things to the table. We want guys like Dustin that's an advocate from both sides of the fence. I mean, he's been out there. He knows what these techs are doing. He's been on the other side. He's implementing guys. He's training guys on this side. He sees the value in it. So I want to make sure that if you're watching live or on the replay, that we're bringing this stuff to you, talking technology, not because we're just bored and we have nothing to do, but we actually care and want you to understand what's out there. And XOI has been game changing for me and Josh. So that's we have nothing else to do but talk highly of it and bring it to you guys. So
that's actually a good segue. I got a question for you, Dustin.
Yes, sir.
So, you're sitting here talking to us, from being in XOI, from previously a service technician. What was it about XOI that attracted you?
Oh man, when they approached me about the opportunity to come here, man, I was all over it because I saw the potential that this technology can and probably will eventually do. I've seen it make tremendous leaps since I've been here. And the direction that this stuff is going, it's going to be solving a lot more problems a lot faster. For guys out in the field that hate spending time on the phone. I hate chasing parts. I hate chasing tech support. Being on the phone with tech support at any given OEM was the bane of my existence because, again, we're playing that old-fashioned game of telephone. This is what color wire goes into the relay, and, this is the voltage across the circuit. With advancements being what they are, it's like now I could get on the phone with a tech support guy and be like, hey, what's your cell phone number? I'm going to send you a link to this video, and you can see exactly what I'm looking at. And now within a minute, this dude has got this link. He's clicked it. He's watched the video. And now he's providing me a solution that traditionally took 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how I know XOI is really good? They hire people like you, dude. I'm serious. Let's not overlook this, right? Because this is a software company. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you're previously a service technician.
Yep.
In the field that XOI focuses on. How much more committed can you be than taking that perspective and making it a part of that organization? That right there is one of the things that attracted me to XOI, because that just shows me that's walking the walk, talking the talk, right? I mean, they want you on board because of the value that you bring from their customer's perspective, and obviously your devilish good looks and able to articulate yourself well, but seriously, right? I mean, this is a software company that is hiring service technicians to be their ambassadors to help develop that product.
Yeah.
We just hired another one about 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, and that's you're in the weeds with us. You're in the weeds. You're able to have guys that actually know what they're talking about from both sides now. And, that's the stuff that I know for me and Josh, support, we need to be able to talk to people that understand our language. Yeah. And our technicians need to be able to talk to people that understand their language, because we're all talking these different jargons, and we want to make it work, and we want to make it work fast.
Yes.
And it's been great.
Yeah. How many times, Dustin, has somebody from a service company reached out to you in support and been like, "Oh my gosh, it was so much easier to explain it to you. I can't believe that." I mean, I think about, support at a software company, like trying to explain to them, what a condensing unit is and what a compressor does and stuff like this. People don't have to do that with you, and that goes a long way.
And they don't have to do that with most of our support and success people, because they've been in this industry for a long time, and they understand a lot of that terminology. And the ones that don't, like, they'll spend a month just watching videos that technicians have done, and they pick it up real quick.
That's cool.
We do lunch and learns. We're all, go through the basics of an AC system or how a heat pump works, or, how a furnace works. So that way they understand how the part name goes into the machine, and makes everything kind of function, right? So if they can grasp those basic concepts, it makes, speaking to the customer so much more efficient and effective. Like I said earlier, I would give my cell phone number out to, everybody in these trainings. I'm like, guys, look, if y'all have a problem with this technology, call me.
Yeah.
I know the environment you're working in right now, and, having being slowed down by something that's not working right, or you just don't understand it, can be frustrating. So just call me. We'll get through it, and you can move on.
Yeah. That's super cool. Lunch and learns, huh? You guys get lunch? All right, I got to take notes.
Lunch and learns.
Give lunch.
Lisa, write this down. But listen, guys, I think we had a great episode here. Is there anything, Dustin? I don't want to leave anything on the table for you, brother. So, is there anything that we want to say in our closing thoughts? Josh, same thing. Any kind of closing thoughts here?
Dustin?
I mean, if you want to really bridge a communication gap with your customers, build trust, and close more jobs, share stuff with them visually. Doesn't matter whether it's on your phone, whether you invest in our technology or not. Take a picture or a video that helps them understand exactly what it is you're talking about, because we speak two different languages.
True. Love it.
My closing thoughts are use XOI because it's absolutely unbelievable. But really, I mean, just echoing what Dustin said, visual evidence of anything is how you break through the perception of everything. So it is, it's of the utmost importance in this industry moving forward. It's done wonders for my business, for Rich's business, I know. And I just, you want to stay ahead of the curve. You want to attract those next generations of technicians, and you want a future in this industry, get on board. I mean, what else is there to say,
That's it. And
I've actually had testimonial from clients that were trying to hire technicians, and there were guys that actually came on board because they're using technology like this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're finding a guy that doesn't care about technology and all that stuff, I mean, that might be well and good. But I know Josh too. Like for us, I want guys to be excited about the technology. I mean, when we're promoting the skilled trades, it's not like I say all the time. It's not just the guy with the plumber's crack and the tool belt. It's not that. It is not that. Not this industry. It's just not.
No.
There's technology. I mean, guys have smartphones and tablets, and we're doing a lot of more technologically advanced repairs than you might have seen a decade ago. So we want guys to be excited about the technology. And talking about the transparency, I post it all the time with XOI in the title there. It's talking about transparency equals trust. And if you want a differentiator in your market, well, this is what's going to be the differentiator. I talk about differentiators all the time. If I'm doing this and my competition ain't, I'm already way ahead of the curve here. So pay attention to the technology, man. It's game changing. I guess we'll end there.
Great.
Cool.
All right, guys.
I appreciate your time, guys. This was awesome.
Likewise.
Yes, Dustin, thank you. Josh, thank you.
Thank you.
To everyone watching the replay, thank you for coming back and watching. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to jump in. We'll monitor them, and if anything, I can get back to these guys and get you some answers. And if you're interested in anything XOI, I mean, listen, mine and Josh's DMs are always open. I know that. So, all right, guys, stay fired up. We'll see you on the next live.